Is Rich going to try to Zoom? Oh, okay. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to this evening's city council meeting. If you haven't already, please silent your cell phones. City of Anamosa City Council Agenda Regular Session, Monday, September 23rd, 2024, 6 p.m. Anamosa Library and Learning Center. 1.0 roll call.
Excellent.
Here.
Chicken.
Here.
Weimer.
Here.
Thanks.
Here. We have four council members present in chambers, no additional remotely. To pass the motions this evening, it will take 3 affirmative votes to carry that. 2.0 Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
As we go through the agenda items, presenters, please, when we call for the agenda item, please come to the podium, state your name. All others that are looking to participate in the conversation, I will ask for public comment, at which time please come to the podium, state your name and residence of address. 3.0 consent agenda, review and approve. There is 2 items. I will read both of those. Council can make a motion that includes consent, which will bring both to a vote for discussion and for vote. Otherwise, council can make a motion with any of the individual items. Item A, minutes from September 9th, 2024, regular session. Item B, current bills.
Move to approve consent agenda. Second.
Motion by Kay, second by Teresa. Council discussion on either of the items. There was one item I was meaning to question. It's the second page of the bills. It's under the local option tax. So Fund 122 backflow device for $1,455.
We have several backflow devices. They haven't been checked in about 20 years. So one of them was broken. It just kind of need to be replaced.
Oh, okay. Thank you. I just thought it was odd to be under that fund. Thanks. Does the public have any comment on the items? Haley, can you please conduct a roll vote, please?
Chicken.
Yes.
Weimer.
Yes.
Dan Smith.
Yes.
Excellent.
Yes.
Motion to approve carried. 4.0 public hearings. 4.1 public hearing to approve the rezoning request of the Cuba subdivision and the final plat of the Cuba subdivision first edition. Item A, Mayor opens the public hearing. The public hearing is now open. This is where public can come to the podium and ask, inquire. C, Mayor closes the public hearing. Public hearing is now closed. 4.2, Resolution 2024-51, approving the final plat of the Cuba subdivision first edition.
Move to approve.
Second. Motion by Kay, second by Todd. Jeremiah, can you please confirm that the plat is for only the two properties? In a sense, not the breakdown of the lots within the property?
That is correct. So this resolution, it matches the first edition plat, which is just for parcels for lot 1 and 2. This would be slightly different than the next agenda item, which is for the entire subdivision.
Questions or comments from council? Does the public have any inquiries? Kaylee, would you conduct a roll vote, please?
Weimer,
Yes.
Dan Smith,
Yes.
Kay Smith.
Yes.
Tukin,
Yes.
Motion to approve, carried. 4.3 ordinance 963, rezoning the property entitled the Cuba subdivision in Anamosa, Iowa, from 4R-2 multifamily residential to 5-R1 single family residential.
So this would be the rezoning exhibit that should be in yellow in the packet. This is going to be that whole subdivision, which went through, this is what went through the Planning and Zoning Commission just a week and a half ago, and was recommended for approval by the P&Z Commission.
This is just the first reading of that ordinance request.
Yes, this is the first reading of that one.
And as part of the P and Z meeting, nothing, well, I guess was there any comment or adverse comment with regard to this particular ordinance? Or was there any comment made at all at that P and Z meeting?
There were a few comments. We had a small number of individuals that did come. They had more points of clarity than comments, I think. There was a small amount of discussion that occurred after that, but once the engineers and representatives from Forge were there to answer their questions, they seemed satisfied and sat back down, and we continued with the P and Z vote.
And just for the record, the stormwater issue we talked about was talked about for planning and zoning.
That was not talked about at this last meeting. This was just the approval of the rezoning of the property, not the individual parcels of each one, and how the stormwater or site plan section of that would ultimately unfold.
When you talk about the discussion that was had by those in attendance, the public, not the directly interested parties. I know you said that they seemed satisfied, but can you give us an idea of what concerns were raised that were then addressed by the
Sure.
folks from Forge?
Yeah, so if I recall correctly, the public who got up and spoke, they were the interested parties. They were neighbors or adjacent property owners that were just asking for clarification on parts of the plan that was shown, such as where sewer and or water lines may run, if it was going to go through their properties. I think questions of a general nature, but all by adjacent property owners. So we did allow the engineer and primarily, again, the proprietor of the property to get up and just explain those plans that they had in front of them. And once that happened, there was no additional comment.
But overall, you felt that their questions had been answered to their satisfaction, at least at that point.
Yes.
So will it come before council to approve, in a sense, a site plan for this subdivision?
Yeah, so once this unfolds, and the date is to be determined at this time, but the new development, on those, properties of this subdivision that do not currently exist, that will go through a preliminary and final plat also, once it, gets to that point.
Yes, if we're looking for a motion, I would move that we approve the first reading of this ordinance 963 relative to the rezoning of that subdivision.
I'll second that.
Motion by Todd, second by Dan. Council, do you have any further discussion? Does the public have any comment or inquiries on this agenda item? Haley?
James Smith,
Yes.
Kate Smith, Tukin,
Yes.
Yes,
Motion to approve, carried. 5.0 proclamations, none. 6.0 postponed items. Oh, I'm sorry, I need to back up. The second leg to 4.3 was possible waiver of second and third reading.
I have a separate question. Before maybe we get to that, in the ordinance information, the document for us today. Unless I'm reading this wrong, we need to correct the council members that are listed on that.
That in front of me.
It looks like
Is it a dated?
It's the old council.
it's the old council.
The resolution is?
Yes,
Okay,
not, I mean, my name's not on it, but
sure.
I'm voting yes. And I don't believe Dan's name is on. Now, as it relates to the waiver of second and third, in keeping with the practice of this council, I think that even though I am generally satisfied based on what Jeremiah has reported, I would not be inclined to waive the possibility of a second and third waiver or reading of this to give public at large more opportunity to comment.
I'd second that.
I don't think we don't need a motion on that. The lack of a motion will move it forward.
Okay.
Cool. Heard from the right side of the council chambers. Is the left side looking to make a motion?
Agreed.
Right. Now, I'll move forward. 5.0 proclamations, none. 6.0 postponed items. 6.1 ordinance 961, second reading. An ordinance repealing ordinance 953 pertaining to the vacant building permit and inspection process, first reading. I guess just to summarize, this is the second reading to the ordinance that council had opted to disband. So the ordinance 953 is in a sense on the books, and we are looking to vacate that. So we'll take a affirmative vote this evening to pass it through the second reading.
Since our last council meeting, has there been any public comment or any questions of your office, Jeremiah?
There has not been.
Is there a motion from council to proceed?
I would move that we approve the second reading, but I'm not moving to waive the third reading for reasons previously stated.
I'll second that.
Motion by Todd, second by Dan to pass the second reading only. Council discussion? Public comment? Haley?
Dave Smith,
No.
Tukin,
Yes.
Farmer,
Yes.
Dan Smith,
Yes.
Motion to approve carried, 3 affirmative votes, 1 opposed. Possible waiver of third reading. Hearing no motion from council, we will move forward. 6.2 ordinance 962, second reading, rezoning the property entitled the Northland subdivision in Anamosa, Iowa from A1 agriculture to 8-R1 residential single family, C2 arterial commercial, and M1 light industrial.
Move to approve.
Second.
Motion by Kay, second by Todd. Council discussion. Public comment? Kaylee?
Tukin,
Yes.
Farmer,
Yes.
Dan Smith,
Yes.
Smith,
Yes.
Motion to approve carried. Possible waiver of third reading? Due to lack of motion, the third reading will not be waived. 7.0 council action item. 7.1 project status update, HR Green, documents only.
If the council has any questions on the documents that were submitted by Melissa from HR Green, I would be more than happy to try to answer those questions or take those back to her. I did contact her. It said that there didn't seem like there was a substantial amount of change on these. So she was, I told her she did not have to be here tonight or Zoom in as well. The only thing I guess I would note on this is number 7 on the Dillon Military Bridge. I was able to meet with the county at their last county supervisors meeting. We did discuss this. There was some public comment additionally that was kind of aimed towards the county. But I had just presented that the council would like an update on this matter. And so they did have some discussion about it. Still, I think the same concerns that they've voiced before as far as just in general, the cost of this project, but said they were committed to the 2080 and thanked me for continuing to work on this and keep everybody in the loop. That's kind of where we are on that.
It's pleasant news.
Did she happen to indicate that she's reached out to the state?
She has, you'll have to forgive me, I don't remember the 2 contacts that she mentioned, but she provided 2 different contacts that she had been either given or came across. I did check with her on the day that I met with the supervisors to ask if we'd heard anything back. She indicated that we have not heard anything back from either of those contacts.
When she was talking about her under number 7, it mentions that the State Historical Society has weighed in and that there may be additional sources for financial assistance. Was that something she found out through her efforts, or was that a community
Yes,
effort?
nope, that was through her efforts. I think overall it was a little bittersweet. Essentially, they found out we potentially would have the opportunity for a $50,000 grant or assistance or renovation. But if we were to move it, we would not get that amount. It would not be eligible for it at all. The downside, of course, is, and I think at the crux of the argument, which is what I presented to the supervisors as well, is trying to get to the least cost with the best benefit in the whole thing. So, you know, I guess just speculating, if we're talking about a $1.9 million renovation, a $50,000 grant is really not going to amount to a whole lot of anything. Doesn't get us anywhere close to the other options. So,
With that being historic, Jeremiah, do we have that option to move the bridge?
that's what they're working on. And the first step is kind of contact the State Historical Society, the National Historic Registration, several other places we'll have to work through to make that happen.
But the initial contact with State Historical Society at least indicated somewhere there might be some record suggesting that the state at some point had some peripheral interest in the bridge.
The interest that the State Historical Society has specified was, they said, because it is tied to the Wapsipinicon State Park District, it is in fact a historical site or historical structure. That's as far as they would go with their comments.
Sounds like there may be some acknowledgement of some sort there that if we could only find out what the Wapsipinicon basin information would be, maybe that would clear up a little bit of the state's commitment to the preservation of the bridge. Thank you.
Item 5 on the report provided, fourth bullet point item. Has there been any progress since the last meeting on the 10 property owners that we're waiting for some type of easement agreement?
I'll have to double check with Madison. As of this past week, there was not. We have, I take that back. Since the last meeting, there has been one or two that's come in. But no overall progress as far as securing every property owner. So I guess the project as a whole is still at the same place that it was at our last meeting or at the last status update.
And are the persons that we are sending these to the owners of the property, or are they tenants of the property, or do we have a combination?
For the most part, they are owners. There is, I believe, 2 that are not owners. And one of them that we ran into, that was the problem. The property was sold. So we did send it to the owner, but the previous owner, now we have to get a hold of the new one and kind of start that over again.
This project's on hold because of not having these agreements in place.
Correct, yes.
So there's a good chance that the cost of this project, in a sense, increases with every passing day.
I hope not every day, but probably a good sentiment anyways. Yes, it will increase as it goes on.
Well, it certainly has been in a holding pattern for some time now. It would be council's decision how to proceed, but we may want to move in a manner to push this envelope. I guess it'd be conversation for another time when it's actually an agenda item, but to continue just to sit idle isn't good for the city's interest.
And we currently do not have, do we have this project tentatively budgeted for this year's budget?
Partially, yes. So when we started the year, we kind of split the project, assuming it would span fiscal years. At that time, we had hoped that the second round of sending these out, fixing whatever mistakes we'd included in the initial agreements, the property owners would sign, and it would be done with fairly quickly, and that we could at least get those easements taken care of, and then the first portion of the project moving forward.
It just looks to me like in that same paragraph or portion addressing the sewer issue, that if we have to initiate the eminent domain process, it's approximately a 4-month process. So we're gonna now, even if we could get something started by the 1st of November, which is only 40 days away, any construction potentially would not be able to be started until April or May at best. And then we also have the construction permit issue. I'm assuming we can't apply for that DNR construction permit. I mean, it would be good money after bad at this point, correct? I think I would agree with our mayor that we probably need to put this on the agenda maybe for the last meeting in October, so we can have sort of a time frame to get this underway. Or I would request that, I guess.
I also just want to state that Steve, Robert, Shane, the city supervisors have identified in a sense that this is a project that is needed to continue to provide a adequate service to the citizens, the residents. So just to continue and stand here and wait for something to happen, which to date it appears it just isn't going to, I don't think is value added. Any other questions, comments on the report that Jeremiah could take back to HR Green? Seven point two, resolution 2024-52 to hire and set the wages for the position of part-time library clerk for fiscal year ending June 30th, 2025.
Move to approve.
Second.
Motion by Kay, second by Teresa. Council discussion. Public comment. Haley?
Weimer,
Yes.
Dan Smith,
Yes.
Kay Smith,
Yes.
Tukin,
Yes.
Motion to approve wage for the position carried. There you go. 7.3, review and approve consent agenda. Pay request totaling $261,121.19. There is 2 items. I will read each one. Council can make a motion that includes consent, which will bring both items up for discussion and vote, or council can make individual motions. Item A, from Peak Construction in the amount of $259,021.18 for phase 2 of the downtown revitalization project. Item B, from HR Green in the amount of $2,100.01 for water treatment plant disinfection system CPS project.
Make the motion to approve the consent agenda.
Second.
Motion by Dan, second by Todd. Council discussion.
This looks like this would complete about 3/4 of the original contract. Is that payments to date, once this is made
Or peak or,
for peak, I'm sorry.
yes, that's correct. And just to clarify, I did double check with, Derek, Economic Development Director today. This is not the final payment. They are still working. The sunset date was today. So at this moment, anything over is, not gonna be great for them, but, it's not quite there yet. So they're still working on it.
Do they have any kind of a tentative date they think they'll be completed?
I have not heard of a tentative date at this time. They're working through Martin Gardner and ECOG, both who are monitoring it carefully.
We spoke earlier today, Jeremiah, is the balance, if this passes, is the balance of a substantial or significant amount that pressure could be applied if punch items still remain open?
Yes, so it was clarified that this is the work that was performed through the end of August. And the retainage is still left, and we have not, even got to that point, so we still have that.
Also, any other questions or comments? Public comment? Kaylee?
Dan Smith,
Yes.
Kate Smith,
Yes.
Tukin,
Yes.
Weimer,
Yes.
Motion to approve consent carried. 8.0 City Administrators Report.
Just a few general items. I wanted to point out that the streets department, the superintendent and assistant superintendent, correct? Attended a training conference here about a week and a half ago for the Iowa Streets and Roads Conference. Said it was a pretty good conference, brought a few, interesting pieces of information and, a couple of new ideas back. So, that was beneficial. Pumpkin Fest is coming up just right around the corner. Have been in contact with a gentleman from IPTV who's very interested on the Pumpkin Capital of Iowa designation that we have, and has indicated he will be at Pumpkin Fest and is hoping to ask some questions. So I've been trying to facilitate that as much as possible. And the fire department or firefighters fundraiser, the 28th, the ribeye steak that's coming again. So that's all I have.
Also, any questions or comments for Jeremiah? Thanks for that report, Jeremiah. 9.0 Mayor and Council Reports. 9.1 Mayor's Report. I have none at this time. 9.2 Council Reports.
I don't have a report other than I would like to congratulate our Anamosa Raiders football team for bringing the cowbell back from Monticello after a 5-year absence. Way to go. I keep hearing good news about our football players, and that's something to celebrate after this weekend with some other sad news. So congratulations. Good job.
Thanks, Todd. Anyone else? 10.0 Public comment for items not on the agenda. Would you please come to the podium, state your name and your address of residence?
And it's a pleasure to speak before the council and mayor.
Could I just put you on hold there for a second? Did you get all that?
no, what was your
Philip.
address?
Anamosa 706 South Garnerville. I sent an email to the council and the mayor and the administrator, and that address is on there. Shane? On September 19th, I talked to the city street superintendent, Shane Brown, and brought to his attention the safety hazard of a sinkhole on Walworth Avenue. One of those sinkholes is 5 foot long 1 foot wide and 2 foot deep at one place. It adjoins the curb and doesn't have any safety barrier or cones placed. Shane and another city employee stated they'd been aware of it for some time. The sinkhole has been there for over a year, likely for over 2 years. It's been there about 2 years. And I tried to email the city through the website concerning that multiple times and had problems with that website. And as we spoke, Mayor, you said you were having some problems with emails. So if you don't get those emails, I will submit one copy here of this, which I may be poor grammar and punctuation because I wrote it right before I came. So those sinkholes on the curb side pose a great risk of personal injury and open the city of Anamosa to the risk of lawsuit due to its negligence and not mitigating that risk. And I told Shane that action should be taken immediately to protect the public. And I am appalled that no action has been taken to this point. I told it would be hard to set a cone there. I see they were taking down logs on our trees on our street. You could put a log over the top of it and it'd be safer. But really, it should have posts and barriers, at least caution tape. There's also in that area an apparent siphoning of the subbase that's caused major failure of the street in that area. And that's been going on for years. I know that the street is sunk at least 2 inches in one spot. It's very possible that that damage is to the sewer lines and it's from a contractor's horizontal boring. And if that's the case, the city management should have held that contractor liable for the repairs. It's also very likely that the section of road will fail under the weight of traffic due to the erosion of soil through those cracks. And that's being carried away by that subsystem. I also brought to Shane's attention that our streets were being damaged by excessively large trees being dropped on them. Several years back, a tree in my yard was taken down and just huge sections just hit the street so hard that now it's all fractured up and grass is growing through and will have heave through freeze thaw cycles. So I showed Shane that damage and expressed my concern. The following day, the streets watched as another large tree was felled on our streets. An examination of the area in front of 710, 716 South Garnavillo by myself and 2 other neighbors showed multiple cracks in our street. And this was after telling you about that this is not how you take it down. I took a video of that tree as it fell and it just comes crashing down. And I'd be happy to make that video available to anybody for your review. There is not one reputable tree company that would drop trees on a customer's driveway, and none of you would want your driveways to have trees dropped like they're being dropped on our city. And additionally, this contractor drove his heavy equipment, track equipment on a neighbor's front yard. Just the neighbor wasn't home, so it was very convenient for the contractor. And he damaged the homeowner's property. His sidewalk was also damaged, but at least a traffic cone was placed on the walkway. This irresponsible method of tree removal is going to cost the city and citizens more than the cost to hire reputable tree service. Whoever's in charge, whether it's the administrator, the mayor, I don't know who's Shane, who's your supervisor. Whoever's in charge of monitoring the contractor's work is neglecting their duty to protect the property of the city of Anamosa and its citizens. And I say that all respectfully. You know, you can go up our streets and see how blown out they are. It's just a crime the way they're dropping these trees. You know, I don't know who wrote the scope of work on that, but they didn't, probably in the city, they didn't write a scope of work, and surely not to protect it. And then I will say one other thing that I would love to see the city do as you come in Cemetery Road before you go up Walworth Avenue. That street is only 17 foot, 10 inches wide of concrete, industrial concrete. It's been there since I was a toddler. And I watched today as a vehicle actually had to drive off of the gravel shoulder, which is not maintained well because there's a drop on that too. Trip hazards for the public that's down there to attend all the games. South Garnavilla, where I'm at, it's beautiful, 31 feet from curb to curb in the street and Cemetery Road 1710. You know, we could have taken millage from asphalt, pull that gravel out, compact it. I think we should be looking at spending some money down there. That is a showcase. That's where everybody comes in from out of town and come in to attend the games. You know, if you want Anamosa to look good, it's not just about polishing up pumpkins and bringing somebody in, you know. We can do a lot more right there. I think that'd be money well spent. So thank you, council, for handling.
Thank you. There any other, any additional individuals that would like to make a comment? 11.0 adjournment. This evening's meeting is adjourned. Thank you for taking time out of your evening to join us for the council meeting.